Hello everyone, Fraud Review here, and today we'll be reviewing a viewer again. Today's viewer is Cactos, a testament hovering between floor 8 and 10. I don't know much about testament myself, which is why Cobalt will be helping with the testament specific parts of the review. Without her this video wouldn't be possible, so thank you Cobalt. I will leave her Twitter in the description. If you're even slightly interested in testament at all, I highly recommend checking it out. If you're not interested, that's okay too. Just be aware of the consequences. Before we head into the review, I have a few tiny announcements to make. As some of the more frequent viewers might have already noticed, we are getting dangerously close to reaching 5,000 subscribers, which is crazy. So I'd like to thank everyone for the incredible support. I already have a special in mind, but I'm not fully set on it just yet. There will also be a minor glow up for the channel somewhat soon, as I am planning on commissioning some artwork for the channel page as well as the videos. Next week will be a bit busy for me, but if all goes well there will be 2 fraud reviews. The next viewer review is still getting voted on, so if there's any character you'd like to see, you can find the poll in the community tab on my channel. If there's any character you'd love to see in the upcoming fraud reviews, feel free to let me know in the comments. That's all for the intro, let's see how we can help Cactos out. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Since Asuka has slow and stubby standing normals, there's not much that 6p beats in this situation. A stronger option would be to backdash and then try to react to Asuka's option. A 6p after this will beat all test case 1 cubes, while Screamer and 2D will both whiff. This covers most of Asuka's active round start options, but when doing this you should still be wary of a hard callout or Terra and Exhibitor Metron. The most important thing in any Asuka matchup is to contest his cubes in neutral. Since he used the knockdown to go into test case 3, you were back to neutral and could have contested the yellow cube here. By using 5p, 2p, 6p or even a fast slash and cancelling into Arbiter Sign or S Grave Reaper, you can often catch Asuka refilling his resources and swing the momentum back in your favor. It's important to note that Asuka can block this by immediately cancelling into resource and down backing, but this depends on spacing. Most Asuka players will just get hit by this regardless. Alternatively, S Grave Reaper just contests the space, putting you in a better situation. When blocking a tap dust, it's safe to go for a stronger punish. Tap dust is -15, so you have enough time to go for a 2k, 5k or even a 5h in Testament's case. This leads into a much more rewarding conversion and is worth going for even if you weren't completely ready for the punish. While this burst was a bit early, it worked well as it denied Asuka the chance to manage his resource. Using burst to mess with Asuka's resource like this is really strong and one of the best ways to use burst in this matchup. Don't forget that it's still a really important resource though, so only use it when you think it's worth it. Dash 6H is a huge commitment due to its slow speed and lack of disjoint. In most matchups you should only use it when you really have a hard read on your opponent. In this scenario, it would have been better to use fast and low reward options to box Asuka in and stop him from recovering his resources. When Asuka has his Vortex staff up, it's incredibly risky to commit to anything as long as there are cubes in it. The cubes are very unpredictable if it's placed above you and easily lead into a full conversion if you get caught during a commitment.
Duel 2. Let's rock.
2S is a very good ground start option since it beats every cube and 2D as well. You should always press 2H after 2S on round start since it almost never gets blocked due to the round start spacing. If you press 2S to H and the 2S whiffed, you will fortunately not Gatling into 2H and overcommit. This is because you can't Gatling on a whiff. Here's the conversion for this counter hit. It also leads into a nice CS meaty. After hitting a cube, Testament should always cancel into either Grave Reaper or Arbiter Sign. In this case, a cancel into Grave Reaper would have either counter hit or forced Asuka to block, taking your turn back. This is also valuable info for every other character's Asuka matchup. Characters like Kai can cancel a cube hit into a special like Dire Eclat or Stun Dipper for free punish depending on the spacing. The same goes for the next two cube interactions. Always make sure to contest cubes. You could have teleported in via 214k here to get a meaty close slash, keeping Asuka on the back foot and denying mana recovery. Asuka tried to stay in the air to avoid Arbiter in the past few interactions. It's important to take note of things like this and adjusting your Arbiter usage accordingly, since it's a very committal special. This overhead is incredibly hard to react to. It really helps to keep a good eye on Asuka's spells so you can mentally prepare for reacting to it. If you know he can go for this overhead, it's also important to switch to high block whenever Asuka can't go for a low anymore. Instant air backdash is always a bad round start when Asuka has Screamer available, as it will catch the backdash startup. In this case, backdash, blocking or even jumping back would have been safer options. Since both players had full burst here, going for a fully charged wall assault would have been a good idea. If the wall assault gets bursted, you'd have traded 50 burst for 100 burst, which is a very favorable trade. If the opponent doesn't burst and gets hit with the wall assault, you can get a wall break conversion like this. This is another example where you would have benefited greatly from switching up your zoning game plan. Asuka was clearly showing that he wants to jump out of this Arbiter spam. You could have taken note of this and adjusted to punish that via dash 6H or a held crow. When you play a zoner like Testament or Axel, you constantly play rock paper scissors with your opponent in neutral. This RPS is very committal for both players, so it's important to keep a good eye on your opponent's decisions to adjust appropriately. In this scenario, you could see that Asuka is spamming paper by just jumping over and over again. Now would be the perfect time to switch it up and use scissors to punish him for it. Routing into 236S here unfortunately wasted the stain state you put on Asuka earlier. If your opponent has stain on them, you should always make sure to confirm a touch into a dash up close slash to either continue the conversion or reset your block string in case they blocked. Going for two Arbiter Signs here to push as much damage as possible during the mana break was a great choice. It's also good that you took some extra space afterwards as well. FS5H whiffing is unfortunately a very common issue for Testament. Because of this, it's almost never a good idea to Gatling into 5H that close to Fast Slash's tip range. It's usually preferred to just route into Grave Reaper instead. I assume this was a very unfortunate Arbiter misinput. Using Arbiter here would have been a great choice, especially because Asuka was overcommitting on slow spells. Once again, it would have been better here to teleport in instead of committing on zoning. This Roman cancel was a huge waste of resources. Asuka had no burst to bait, so it would have been better to just route this counter hit out normally. Especially because this counter hit 6H is one of Testament's best starters. That's all for today's video. I'd once again like to thank Cobalt for helping out. Her help was really invaluable. As I said earlier, there will probably be 2 fraud reviews next week. Who knows, maybe I'll even try out a new format. And as always, thank you for watching.